Welcome back to Chin Music, and sadly, the Twins are always making news. Pablo Lopez goes on the injured list. He's going to be on there for a long time. I still think the Twins are the most cursed of all the professional sports franchises in Minnesota. We'll also get to some happier news, some developments. The Twins are still playing well. We'll ask whether Detroit has staying power. We'll also do our Booze and Blues segment at the end of the show, and one of our topics these days is most underrated bands in history. The lineup: Roy Smalley, former Twins great; LaVelle Neal III, Star Tribune columnist and baseball guru. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune and Talk North as well. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio.
That first sip of coffee. Is there anything better? Yup. Coffee made with amazing water from Aquarius, your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Enjoy worry-free water throughout your home for less than buying that daily cup of joe. Imagine spotless dishes, softer laundry, and drinking water you can trust. Plus, up to 25% off a new Connecticut system. Schedule your free water analysis at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
Join us after the Twins day game on Thursday, June 12th at Parlay Kitchen and Bar for the Talk North Sports Report live show presented by Giggly THC Drinks. Catch myself, Mark Rosen, LaVelle Neal III, John Krasinski, and our special guest, five-time WNBA champion Rebecca Brunson. Reserve your VIP spot now at fanhq.com. Don't miss out. Chin Music is also presented by Giggly THC Beverages and OnX Hunt. All right, gentlemen, let's get to it. LaVelle, let's start with you today. Pablo Lopez feels something in the back of his shoulder. It looks like he's going to be out 3 months, right as the Twins had righted themselves, had the third best record in the American League. How devastating is this news?
It's a blow, definitely. It's too bad, too, because it didn't seem like it was a serious thing when he left the game. He was trying to push through it a little bit. I don't know if that was the best move, but, looking back in hindsight, it's 2020. So I was expecting them to announce a grade 1 strain and he could be back in a month, which isn't that bad. A grade 1 strain, it takes about 2 or 3 weeks to recover. And then you get back on the mound, start throwing a couple bullpens, you can get back into the rotation. But grade 2, that's a blow. And, there's a good chance he'll pitch by the end of the season. But the Twins have to stem the tide without him. They're capable of doing that. Mainly because Chris Paddock has been pretty damn good this year, coming back and finding his form after a second Tommy John surgery. So they still have 3 guys that you can rely on in Joe Ryan, Bailey Over, and Chris Paddock. It's amazing how things come back around. Once again, the Twins will be going into the second half of the season, needing Zebby Matthews and David Festa to step up and stem the tide. Last year, the results weren't that great. But this year, they've got some more experience. Zebby came up and got hit around against Milwaukee, but he has stabilized somewhat. Hopefully, Festa can follow the same path because he got hammered against Oakland after having to fly in and be with the team and make that start on Thursday. So once he gets settled in, maybe you'll see a better version of him. But the Twins can withstand this until Lopez comes back. It's just, as you pointed out, it seems like the Twins end up on the wrong side of all these things in town. And they can't have nice things, and their best players keep getting hurt. And it stinks, but they may be able to absorb this one better than they would a year ago.
What do you think, Roy?
Yeah, I agree with LaVelle. Certainly they have a chance to absorb this one better than a year ago. That's it. I absolutely agree with this. As I said, if not devastating, it's whatever the next level down is. I mean, the way they've been playing, the way Pablo's been pitching, feel terrible for the Twins, and for Pablo especially. But I think that they've, again, what we've been saying for a while, that bullpen is pretty locked down. The biggest head scratcher out there continues to be Jorge Alcala. Just can't figure out with that stuff how he gets knocked around and gives up as many runs as he does, as many times as he does. But the bullpen's really good. Paddock has been a godsend. It's wonderful to see him come back and be as effective as he's been. I know they were very high on Zebby Matthews outing on the road trip the last time he pitched. So yeah, I think that it's a devastating blow from really great pitching staff front to back to okay, they can weather the blow. That's different. That's a different comment, but but I think it's the right one. And I'll go back to what I've been saying since March. It really all depends on the offense anyway. I mean, it really does now. Now it does more than ever, and showing some signs here of being able to be consistent 1 through 9. That's been really good. They can't afford Buxton to get hurt. Tough to say that because he's hurt every year. They can't afford his offensive production gone. They're really counting on Ty France to continue to drive in the runs that he has. They're waiting on Royce Lewis. Other guys have kind of filled in, so it looks decent, but it's going to depend on them more than ever now.
Personal note, my band, the Barchords, is playing Saturday night at Flaherty's in Arden Hills. We're planning on playing outside. We'll move inside if we have inclement weather. Stop by if you get a chance. I don't know if there's much more to say about Pablo. He's pitching great. It's sad to see this happen. He could be, he should be back later this year. The question I keep getting asked, LaVelle, when I do radio hits, when I run into fans, is, does this mean they're going to trade for somebody at the trading deadline? And I think it's a little bit of an illogical question because they do have pitching depth in the organization, and Pablo will be back. This isn't like last year where Joe Ryan's out and you need to find a replacement. But to ask the question of you, do you think they could or would trade for a starting pitcher midsummer if they felt like they needed one?
I think they need a bat more than they need a starting pitcher. I thought about that same thing too, Jim. But they can. Pablo is definitely coming back before the year is over, so that's a good thing. 2, even without him, they're still one of the better pitching staffs, and I'm talking about their first starter to their last reliever. If anything, they may want to go out and get another reliever because I did not know Louis Varland is second in the majors in appearances. I think Griffin Jackson's 16th. You may want to bring in an extra arm just out of the sake of not wearing those guys down. But I think they can move forward with the pitching options they have. Simeon Woods Richardson's in AAA. Andrew Morris is highly thought of. They can get by with what they have. I want to see them because I'm actually writing about this for Sunday. I want to see them at a bat. This offense is 16th in the league in run score. They were 10th in the league last year. I think they're underperforming. Yes, they need some help. They need the Lewis to turn things around, but I don't know how long you can wait for this to turn around. They could use a hitter to come in the middle of that order. And I don't know who that could be. I don't know if that could be a Ryan or Hearn. I don't know if that's a Josh Naylor that you use at DH and maybe play at first base a little bit. I'm not sure, but they should be having conversations about augmenting the offense. Their third base production is some of the worst in baseball. I was looking at that this morning. And once again, that points at Royce Lewis. I'm not advocating for him to bench for any stretch of imagination, but they got to find a way to get another bat in that lineup. You played 2 months. You've seen what you got. This is the time of year where you make adjustments, and the Twins should be front and center and find ways to try to make adjustments.
Well, right. What do you do with Royce Lewis at this point? Do you just keep playing him, waiting for him to break out? Does he need a reset at AAA? And what advice would you give him if you were his hitting coach right now?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there,
yes.
Isn't there?
We got 3 hours. It's okay.
I'm not too far away from saying that Royce needs to go down to AAA and get it figured out again. I think that every young player goes through these kinds of things. His former statement about I don't do slumps, notwithstanding, everybody does, especially young players. And the toughest thing for young players is say, okay, this is what got me here. I hit 5 grand slams in a season, or over the course of a couple, whatever it was. And so I don't need to fix anything. But something's broken, and when something's a little broken, which it will get, for everybody. It becomes a mental thing about A, figuring out what it is, and then B, having the discipline and the patience to fix what the problem is, and relax and let it happen. And I don't think the problem's fixed yet mechanically for him, and I think his brain's a little messed up. And sometimes just playing through that in the big leagues against this kind of pitching, when you're a young player, is not where it gets fixed. And so I think it's either got to be, they've either got to say, okay, we're just going to play him for 3 weeks, and if he hits 050, we're just going to let him work it out, or we're going to let him hit 050 in AAA until he hits, until he figures it out and bring him back up here. And I'm not too far away, from that. I think just because I've seen young players, and that's and that quote demotion, it shouldn't be viewed as such a failure, because kids go through this kind of stuff, and he has I know he feels the expectations on his shoulders, and that's a tough deal when you're expected to come in and be the fourth hitter and hit grand slams every time you hit the ball in the ballpark, every time you come up with the bases loaded. So it may just need a total mind-free session down in AAA to get it, get him back. I guess that's where I am right now, and I agree with LaVelle. I mean, I've been worried about the offense anyway, as you guys know, and positive signs. But they needed him at the last year Royce Lewis, or the first half of last year Royce Lewis at third base, and frankly, I think they need I'd love to see them have another player that can be a thumper in the DH spot.
Yep.
And so then it just depends. Okay, do we need what's available? Is it right-handed or left-handed, and how does that fit? But I think LaVelle's right on, and I think the spot in the lineup really is DH. I think it's hard. It's hard to run a rotating platoon system at DH and compete with these guys that can really hit. I mean, you look at most of the clubs that have big offense, and their DH spot is pretty solid. Whether it's a platoon system or not, it's a pretty everyday. We know what we're going to get out of the DH, and it's run production, and the Twins don't have that.
Right. Should it be a lefty or right-handed hitter? Once again, the Twins' numbers against left-handed pitching are lacking a little bit. I'm thinking they shouldn't get too wound up on that. If it's regardless if it's lefty or righty, if they can help the lineup, go ahead and make the move.
It just depends on who it is, LaVelle, don't you think? I mean, it depends on who might be available and what it would cost to get them. I think all things relatively equal, it's not gonna matter. To your point, right-handed or left-handed. But if there's one clearly better hitter available, that's one or the other, then you go with that. If you look at what they have, the big production, with the exception of Larnick, hopefully Wallner will come back and be, the run producer that we think he's going to be. This Wallner and Larnick, and then it's Buxton and Correa and France, to some degree Jeffers, from the right side, and now you're from the left side. You're hoping for Brooks Lee and Willie Castro to really fill in, left-handed. Bader has been, way better than what we thought offensively so far. So that's the right-handed versus left, and you look at that and you say, okay, then you mentioned first base occasionally. Wouldn't mind a strong right-handed hitter, able to go in and play the outfield a little bit, either for Wallner or Larnick. But final analysis: go out and get the best doggone hitter you can find.
All right, we want to get to Festa and Zebby and everything else going on with the Twins right now. Want to remind you that we're presented to you by Giggly THC beverages. I drink them all the time. Tastes like your favorite cocktail. but no regrets. Bold flavors, real fruit juice, all natural, low calorie, affordable. And you can get them in 5 milligrams of THC or 10 milligrams THC. For me, 5 is more than enough. You might prefer the 10. The thing is, they taste good. I mean, none of this would matter if they didn't taste so good. I love all the cocktail flavors. I basically cycle through them. I buy the variety pack, see which kind you like. My wife loves the teas. There's raspberry tea. She likes the old Arnold Palmer type. You can get a seltzer if you want just that light, crisp taste. Highly recommend it. They're at every Quick Trip in Minnesota. You can find them at most liquor stores and a lot of grocery stores. Best way to get it, just order it at giggly.com, Gigli.com. Use a promo code Giggly North, get 50% off your first order. Also, have you ever driven past a piece of land and wondered who owns that? Or maybe you need to know exactly where a property line runs. That's where Onyx Hunt comes in, and it's not just for hunters. There are folks using Onyx for their jobs every day throughout the country. From farmers and ranchers mapping out their fields, wildland firefighters navigating rough terrain, to construction workers needing to know who owns what property, this app offers something for everyone. If you need the best land ownership maps, aerial imagery, and property boundaries in your pocket, Onyx Hunt is the tool for the job. Try it free for 7 days. Download Onyx Hunt in the app or Google Play Store, or visit onyxmaps.com/hunt to get started. All right, so Festa comes up and gets rocked his first outing. Looking at it on TV, I couldn't tell if he was tipping his pitches, if his location was really that bad, or if he had a case of the nerves. Roy, what did you think?
Well, I think he probably had a case of nerves. He had a case of the, fly in, get the, oh, by the way, you're pitching tomorrow, kind of communication, fly in and get a, start a day game. There's probably a lot of things, going on. Plus, but the Twins had beaten the Athletics 3 games in a row. Those guys can hit the ball out of the ballpark. We know that they got some guys that can swing it pretty well over there. So I'm gonna write this one out. I'm not I think that David Festa will pitch well enough to keep them in enough games to be effective, potentially. So we'll wait and see. I think he pitched well enough last year to say, okay, he can probably pitch up here with this, with that bullpen if the guys score him some runs. So let's wait and see the next 2 or 3 starts.
Yeah, had a chance to watch both those guys pitch in spring training, and I thought that they had the experience they got in 2024 was serving them well. Zebia added another pitch. Festa just sounded like he was more mature than he was a year before. So I thought these guys were in better space to contribute if needed this year. And I still believe that. Like I pointed out before, I think Zebi's been better since his initial outing against Milwaukee. And I think Festa is going to be the same way with the after the A's game. So, and he, a lot of people think that Festa's got more upside than Zebi. I'm a Zebi guy, but some people think Festa's going to be the better pitcher. And so there's some people who really believe in his talent. So, the only thing that we have to worry about now is that if they start having to be removed after 5 innings or so, how that's going to affect the bullpen. It's already been pretty busy this first 2+ months of the season here. So, and I like them as options. And once again, Simeon, I think Simeon Woods Richardson gave up 5 runs in his last outing. He's still trying to figure some things out, but he could be an option in a couple weeks too if he gets things together. So I'm more optimistic about these guys holding the fort than I was a year ago.
I'd like to make just another quick point, if I could, about that. What LaVelle said sparked something I was thinking about earlier this morning, and that is the manager and the pitching coach are going to have to do a tremendous job of managing the bullpen this year. I was thinking about that before. I've talked about how the bullpen. I think that the starting pitching is plenty good enough to get them to the bullpen, to finish off games, and whether that's in the, hopefully that's no earlier than the 6th inning most of the time. But the truth is, and LaVelle's brought it up. I mean, with Louis Varland, as many appearances he's had, as good as that bullpen is, Rocco, has kind of a way, a plan, or just how he kind of figures the game, and it features Louis Varland extensively early on, and then Alcala or Topa here and there before he gets to Stewart and Jackson and Duran. So a couple of things. I mean, if I'm going to say that bullpen's that good and it can, and the starters are going to be good enough to get to that bullpen, then I've also got to say manager and pitching coach have to be really good this year. They're going to have to be really, really good, and they're going to have to figure out one more guy. The Alcala worries me. I just kept thinking at some point in time he's going to figure out how good of stuff that he's got, and he's going to lock down as well. But that just hasn't happened. I think they really need that one more guy. I sure hope it's Alcala. But to LaVelle's earlier point, they may need another arm out there. Given the state of the starting staff and how much some of these guys are pitching already.
Let's talk about Detroit, the division, and our Booze and Blues segment. First, I want you to hear from Talk North star Michael Russo for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
We're also proud to be working with a great Minnesota company, does so much good for so many people, Minnesota Masonic Charities.
When people think of the Freemasons, they often think of secret handshakes and unusual hats, and of course, the pancake breakfast. Minnesota Masonic Charities would prefer that you think about the work that they do right here in our community. Places like the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota or the Masonic Children's Hospital and the Masonic Home in Bloomington. They are just a few examples of the important work that the Freemasons support here in Minnesota. As part of the largest fraternal organization in the world, Masons have consistently answered the call when it comes to charitable needs. We look forward to learning so much more about their many programs here in the weeks to come.
And here's another Talk North star, John Krasinski for True Vision Institute.
True Vision Institute in Bloomington. I've been telling you about it for months now. Just a life-changing experience for me to go to True Vision and have LASIK surgery this summer. Everything is easier for me after having LASIK surgery. I don't have the hassles of contacts and eyeglasses. I don't have to worry about going in for annual appointments to get the eyes checked, and also to make sure that I have the latest and greatest style of glasses, and I'm not looking like some washed up 46-year-old like I am, trying to stay ahead of the trends. I don't have that anymore. I'm just going around free and clear without anything on my face. And that's all thanks to the good folks at True Vision. When you go into True Vision, you will immediately notice how welcoming, how warm, how friendly, and how knowledgeable the staff is there. They get you in, they get you checked out, they find the right vision correction options for you. And then Dr. Chu is just world class in how he helps you through the procedure, how he makes sure that he gets you taken care of, and like he did with me. And I've had zero issues with my vision since I had the surgery surgery in July. And I just keep kicking myself and wishing I would have done it 10 years ago. So go to chewvision.com and set up your consultation. Tell them the John Krasinski Show sent you, and get on with your life. Make it easier on yourself, and just get to the point where you can kick your own self in the butt and say, why didn't I do this a long time ago?
And reminder, December, we're going to have our next Talk North Sports Reporter Roundtable on Thursday, June 12th at 4 p.m., basically right after the Twins day game. LaVelle will be on the panel along with Rebecca Brunson and John Krasinski. Mark Rosen will be the MC. Stop by. We will have a bunch of giveaways, and Steve Janicek, the 1980 Miracle on Ice star, will also sign autographs after the show. It'll be a great show. Stop on by. Again, right after the Twins game, come on by. Even if you come in mid-show, you're going to catch some good stuff. If you get there early, we'll have Giggly. We'll have all kinds of other stuff going on. Parley Kitchen and Bar, basically right under the Union rooftop, downtown Minneapolis. Join us there. How is Detroit this good, Roy?
I think they're pretty good. This is a club that's been building for a while. Some young players with real talent. Riley Green's a player. Their first baseman is a legitimate power hitter, and with Jose Baez now starting to be the run producer that he used to be. I mean, they've got a lot of elements. They pitch plenty good enough, no question about that. The bullpen is good enough. What they have, and this is particularly germane to the whole subject of Pablo Lopez going down. Tarek Skubal is as good as it gets in the big leagues. The guy is just nasty. And when you've got a number one that's a legitimate all-star number one, that makes a huge difference on your club. I mean, just a gigantic difference. It's not just I'm going to win every fifth day or I'm going to stop a losing streak when I go out there. It infuses enthusiasm through the whole club. And when they've got a guy of that caliber, so it kind of heightens the bad, the sad bad feeling about Pablo going down when you see what a number one and especially a number one of this guy's talent can do for a club.
I was just looking at Detroit's stats the other day, and my initial reaction was, who in the hell is Dylan Dingler? Was he like a cast off from Boogie Nights or what? I had to go see who the hell is this guy? You got a catcher with a OPS almost at 800. And I'm like, I've never heard of this guy. And he's in his second year. I'm mad at Baseball Reference because they listed his college and they actually had it written down as the Ohio State University, which I was like, why? Why do you have to go with the Ohio State University? But he's hitting. He must be a capable catcher because he's catching one of the better starting rotations in baseball. Jack Flaherty's in that rotation. Casey Mize is in that rotation. No starters older than 29. This is a hell of a team. And you've got contributions coming from everywhere. Gleyber Torres is on this team. He's contributing. I think their shortstop's the only weak link in the offense. And so when you have this type of, as Roy pointed out, putting Javi Baez in center has rejuvenated his career. This is pretty impressive. So I think the Tigers are for real, from a daily lineup standpoint, from a start rotation standpoint, and they're going to be reckoned with going forward for a couple of years here. So it's about catching Detroit. There's no doubt about that. They may cool off a little bit, but I don't think they're going to collapse.
All right, let's get to our Booze and Blues segment. We'll talk more about the division as the season goes on. It's a fascinating division, and for great for organizations that have built really good teams without spending $1 billion, it's kind of fun to watch. Our topic lately has been most underrated bands in history. I nominated Los Lobos last week. LaVelle, do you have one for us this week?
Yeah, and this goes back to my upbringing and maybe a different musical genre than we discuss here, but getting up in the morning on a weekend, clean up the house. My dad always had jazz music playing in the house, like Charles Earland or other people like Nina Simone. And so grew up listening to a lot of jazz, and one of his favorite artists was Bob James. And Bob James was so understated that he named his albums numerically. The first album was called Bob James 1. The second one was 2. There was 3. But in the I want to say late 80s, early 90s, he formed a group. It was Bob James, Lee Ritenour, Nathan East, and Harvey Mason. And they called themselves Foreplay. And they played a lot of contemporary jazz. And their debut album sold over 1 million copies. Okay. So, I just going through my stuff here. I still have like 3 or 4 of their CDs, in my collection here. It was just a great group. I actually saw them perform in St. Paul, at the Fitzgerald Theater. I want to say in like 99 or 2000. So, and later on, saxophonist Kurt Whalum actually played with them for a little bit as well. So, it's a group. It's a niche audience that they've played for, but they're well known, well respected. And I don't think they got the pub they deserve because they put out a lot of good music for about 20 something years now.
That's a really good one. Roy, you got anything today?
Oh, I'm so pissed now. I can't understand it. I didn't know we could go to jazz.
Oh, of course you can go to jazz.
I've got every Bob James album that Bob James has ever done.
Oh, wow.
That's fantastic.
Every single one of them. I've been a Bob James fan since mid to late 70s. I went to see him in Fort Lauderdale when I was in spring training with the Yankees. I sent him a note. I sat in the front row. There was hardly anybody there, to your point about being underrated. I sent him a note and just said, it was BS thing to do probably, but I was just such a huge fan. I sent him a note and I said, I'm Roy Smalley with the Yankees. I named all these different songs he played. I said, you played piano on one of the greatest songs ever, Stanley Turrentine's "Don't Mess with Mr. T." Was, and I sent him this big long note. And after the show was over, the security guard came out and said, "Mr. James would like you to come back to the dressing room," and went back there and talked to him for a long time and invite him out to a game. He actually came out to the game the next day. I got him tickets to a spring training game, and he waved at me. He sat there and watched BP and all that kind of stuff, but they had to go. They couldn't stay for the game. I was out of shortstop, and he waved goodbye to me. I mean, it was. I love that guy. I had Foreplay. I've got the stuff they did with Kirk Whalum was unbelievable. So from now on, now that I know that jazz is on the table for underrated, I'll have some stuff. I didn't have any. You know who I had for you today? Archie Bell and the Drells.
Wow.
any band that could do the tighten up that was severely underrated.
That's fantastic. All right, I'm going to save mine for future episodes because I don't want to step on Bob James. That's a great one. It's great that Roy could actually, isn't it classic, LaVelle, that you mentioned somebody you think is underrated in the jazz world, and Roy hung out with him.
I was going to say, Roy's hung out with everybody from Paul McCartney to Bob James.
It's amazing.
The whole spectrum of music here.
It's amazing. One more baseball note I want to hit before we go today. Once again, thanks to all of our sponsors. Thank you for listening. Best way to listen to any show at talknorth.com. Subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's just the easiest way to listen. And you should know our lineup by now. Mark Rosen, Michael Russo, John Krasinski, John Millay, Jeff Diamond, Alec Lewis, Kevin Gorg. We have so many shows I can't remember them all. Just check it out. We have the best lineup in town. We also have outdoor content in conjunction with Ron Scherer Productions. The network's doing great, and it's because of you. Thanks for listening. We do appreciate it. Do we have any update on Luke Keeschel? Because we're talking about the Twins needing hitting, and he might be their best hitter.
Oh, have not heard anything on Luke.
Which probably says a lot. Probably he's not close if they haven't heard anything.
That's another couple of months as well. So I still would be looking for a bat. And here's the thing. I mean, what Luke did gave us a lot of hope that this guy is going to be a guy. But I don't know if you can rely on him to show up in August and save the day either. I think you got to pounce now. And because you don't know when these opportunities come. And the thing I'm going to point out for Sunday, too, is that I think the Twins wasted the Bomber squad in 2019 by not adding to the pitcher staff. And now I think things are twisted around here. I think they shouldn't waste this pitching staff with an offense that could be improved. So I just want to see them be active here.
LaVelle, that is a great point, and especially true in this reverse situation. When you can pitch, they have the chance to pitch front to back, and you don't support that, that's almost. I think that's the lesser. That's the bigger evil than the other way around. Yeah, they could have supported the Bomber squad, but when you can pitch, you just don't get pitching like you look around the league. I mean, people aren't pitching like this, and I just think that's a great point.
Good stuff. Bob, James, and LaVelle wrapping up with a great point. What a show. Hey, thanks guys. I appreciate it. Good talk. I'm looking forward to both baseball and Booze and Blues segments in the future. Thanks to everyone listening to TalkRoar.com. We do appreciate it, and we will talk to you next week.